Once he pieces it together, he grabs the first aid kit and heads into her room to tend to her injuries. She winces as he applies bandages to her bruised face. It seems Jin still doesn't know the full story. Diane tells him she fell down the stairs while trying to dodge a bicycle. However, Jin points out that her injuries seem quite severe for a simple accident, and asks if she doesn't want to see a doctor. She hesitates for a moment before insisting she's totally fine. I guess her hesitation to visit the doctor is understandable, because if she goes to the hospital, they'll discover the bruises aren't from a fall down the stairs. The scene then cuts to Daeun's past, where we find ourselves in the principal's office. Daeun is telling the principal that she was beaten up by Huijin. However, Huijin flatly denies the accusations. The police are also involved in the case, and Daeun insists that Huijin was the one who beat her up. She explains that Huijin was wearing a mask and hat, but she recognized her voice and is certain it was her. Besides, Huijin has a history of bullying her at school. But then Huijin, with a sly smirk, asks how Daeun can accuse her when she didn't even see her face. The principal questions Daeun if she saw the face of the person who assaulted her. Daeun responds once again that the assailant's face was covered, but she's sure it was Huijin. At this point, Huijin's mother bursts with anger. She angrily accuses Daeun of calling the police and treating her daughter like a criminal over a ridiculous accusation. The principal tries to calm the furious mother down, but she refuses to listen and makes it clear that she won't calm down. Meanwhile, Huijin's confidence crumbles as she realizes that no one seems to believe her, despite her certainty that Huijin was the culprit. Even the police officers are skeptical. The mother demands that Daeun apologize to her daughter immediately for the accusation. But our girl stands her ground and tells the woman that it was indeed her daughter who assaulted her. The arrogant mother is infuriated by this and decides she will take the matter up with Daeun's parents. She demands our girl to bring her parents to the school right away. This just breaks Daeun's heart. She feels tears streaming down her face involuntarily, while the villain who assaulted her laughs and walks away unpunished. In the present, she feels trapped in the same situation she faced in the past. She believes that raising her voice without solid proof is futile and is determined not to offend her grandfather, who has always been a supportive figure for her. Suddenly, Jin notices her tense expression and puts his hand on her forehead, asking if she's really okay. The girl responds, albeit weakly, that she's fine. Jin points out that while her bones aren't broken, the bruises are pretty severe and will hurt for a few days. She nods, and finds it surprising that he's actually quite good at this patching up stuff, because she can tell the bandages are perfectly placed. She then becomes somber, remembering their grandfather. She's worried he might get upset about all this, especially since he has a weak heart. This news comes as a surprise to Jin, and the girl further reveals that their grandfather takes pills to regulate his heart health. In response, Jin promises her that he'll make sure their grandfather won't catch whiff of this predicament, and tells her to just get some sleep. As he begins to walk away, she calls out to him from behind. With a pleasant smile, she thanks him for all his help, and Jin reciprocates with the same warm smile. But once he's gone, her smile fades. She wonders if she did the right thing by not telling him everything. She feels that there's nothing a couple of teenagers like her and her brother can really do about the situation. However, we all know that Jin isn't an ordinary teenager, and I wouldn't be surprised if he already knows who was behind her injuries. Later, we find ourselves in a club where the high-energy music is blasting and people are buzzing. In the middle of it all, we spot the boss bully, Gisu Kim. He's gritting his teeth as he drinks and laughs with his boys. They're all discussing Jin and wondering how a single brat could manage to mess things up for everyone. One thug speaks up, reminding everyone that their downfall was due to underestimating Jin. He insists that they can take him out easily if they plan ahead. Another goon agrees, emphasizing that they can't just let him get away with this. A third adds that Jin won't stand a chance against all of them. Despite their enthusiasm, their boss knows that taking Jin down won't be a walk in the park. He's still seething from the humiliating defeat, but doesn't want to let it slide. He puts his glass down in frustration and reluctantly agrees with his lackeys. He makes it clear that going one-on-one isn't their style, so they might think of a strategic plan to take our boy down with numbers. The lackeys grin like Cheshire cats, clearly excited about their plan. This rowdy bunch may think they've got it all figured out, but they're nothing more than a pack of hyenas destined to get their comeuppance from Jin sooner or later. Just as they're planning their next move, Gisu's phone rings. The caller ID shows it's from someone labeled Little Bitch. It turns out to be his little sister, and it seems like even Gisu agrees with us that she indeed is a bitch. Anyway, she starts yelling at him, asking why he's just sitting around at the club. Gisu tells her to either say what she wants or he's hanging up. The girl insists that he owes her big time. Gisu confusingly asks what she's talking about. She then reveals that he roughed up Daeun earlier today. She tells him they can't let the siblings get away with it, or they'll lose their authority in the whole school. Her brother, feeling a bit proud of his sister, tells her she did a good job. He reveals that they're also planning to get payback on Jin, Just then, someone walks into the club. As the bullies turn to see who it is, they realize it's Jin. He appears to be there to settle some business. Jisoo gets absolutely furious at the sight of Jin casually walking into his turf. But Jin just walks toward their table with a calm demeanor. Jisoo then feels somewhat relieved that they don't have to hunt Jin down anymore to get their revenge. However, Jin isn't there for a friendly chat either, and without wasting any time, he grabs one of the lackeys by the face and slams him down hard against the edge of the table. Another lackey charges at him, but Jin's hand moves so fast that his single punch shatters all the ribs of the attacker. The bully leader and his lackeys grit their teeth seeing their goons go down. The rest of the crew charges at Jin, but my guy just stays cool as a cucumber. As they get close, he kicks one of them down effortlessly, like a true Sigma male. Next, he grabs this purple head and slams him down on the table with a brutal thud. While this purple head is cowering for his life, Jin doesn't stop there and slams this dude against the wall like a rag doll. Then he balls up his fist and delivers a devastating blow to the fatty's face. One of the thugs grabs a glass bottle and swings it at Jin, but my guy casually knocks the bottle from his hand and follows up with a brutal whack to his face, which leaves the thug bleeding his mouth out. Another bully charges from behind, but Jin ducks down, grabs his hand, twists it painfully, and then delivers a hard slap across his face. Jin throws the thug aside and then grabs another lackey by the face. He smashes the guy's ugly mug right into his knee, breaking the thug's nose with a sickening crunch. With all the thugs down for the count, Jisoo is left speechless, unable to process what's happening. Meanwhile, his sister is still on the line, and she quickly asks what's going on, because she has been hearing the loud commotion and chaos. Jin turns to Jisoo with a chill in his voice, making Jisoo shiver. He asks if he needs to repeat himself, because as far as Jin remembers, he's already told Jisoo to stay away from his sister.